Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Rise of the Beasts Studio Series number 101 Leader Class Terrorcon Scourge. So as we always do, let's go ahead and take a look at that packaging first, and we'll bring it in, and you can see that sweet artwork of Scourge there. I don't know if he's been to the dentist lately, but he might want to think about it. And coming down, there's a little bit more of that artwork. There's Rise of the Beast, Studio Series, Scourge 101, Transformers up the side. Here we've got some sweet artwork on the side of him standing there, almost heroically, if he wasn't a Terrorcon. And then on the back you have product shots. It is big screen inspired. It's Attack at the Museum. And you get 31-step conversion. Down here, Scourge and Terrorcons face off against the Autobots in a battle for the Transwarp Key. Spoiler alert. And the backdrop is included. Down here is all of your warnings and the sad baby. The baby is sad because Scourge is scary. And over here, 101, there's a close-up of that face. He is leader class. Up top, Rise of the Beast. Down low is that information if you choose to read it. So that's it for the box. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way, and we'll take a look at everything that came with Mr. Scourge. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box with Scourge, and we'll start over here with your little sheet of warnings, and you get your instruction booklet, and that leaves you with the two items that you see here. Now, yes, I'm calling this two accessories because they are interchangeable on this arm, so I went ahead and pulled it off so we could get a close-up of each of those, and we'll start right over here with his literal hand cannon. So this has a couple little tricks up its sleeve, so you can split this thing and it becomes part of the truck. Not the greatest, but it does. It becomes part of the truck, and then of course in this mode you can plug it into his arm, and then he has the hand cannon. So let's go ahead and start back here. This is the side that plugs into the arm, so you can see that little notch right there to help with the alignment onto the arm. And then coming around and looking at this thing from the side, you've got all right sculpt work all the way around. No paint, just molded plastic. And then here on the end, you've got something special. You have a barrel with a little bit of sculpt work. And to top it all off, I am happy to report that it is blast effect compatible. So this guy can do some boom booms. And I'm not talking about what babies do in their diapers. So yeah, very cool. Now in the truck mode, you're just going to split this thing. So it splits on the ends. You just got to find the right end from which to split. And get your fingernails in there and split it open. And it comes open like that. And then it has a point of rotation here. So you go around. And then you rotate these either in or out depending on how you're going to orient them. And then for the truck mode, this is basically it. You've got some little slots under there that you're going to line up and then plug it in, so that covers up a little bit of the truck bed. But yeah, that's what you do with this. Blast effect compatibility is very much appreciated. Now moving on to the final accessory here. This is his hand, or you know, the grabber, the clutcher, the scary take my strong hand kind of thing going on. Fun fact, that before Scourge arrived on Earth, this is such a stupid joke, I don't even know why I'm doing it. Before Scourge arrived on Earth, on Cybertron, he actually worked in a Cybertronian Chuck E. Cheese where he moonlighted as the claw machine. So there you go. So my kids liked it, that's why I'm saying it. But there you go. So yeah, he's got a claw. Now each of these are unique. You'll notice that they're not exactly straight, and they vary as far as the way they come together. Now this one's got a little bit more of a curve than the others do, so I don't know, maybe you're talking about some Peyronie's disease or something going on there, but yeah, they're not fully symmetrical, so maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's not a good thing, but yeah, you can bring them all together and do that and pick something up, and I would imagine he would hold this. Let's try this for the first time on camera. That's always a good idea. It always really works out well. Yeah, it doesn't. But anyway, you get the gist. So let's take a look here. You do have some detail up here. You've got what I'm assuming is a chain that's painted, and then you've got some mold work in there as well. So overall, it looks pretty good. I do like this. I have a lot of fun with this. Probably more fun than I should, but the claw. So anyway, there you go. And then, of course, you got that slot and that plugs in. So that's it for the accessories. I went on way too long about those accessories. Now, he does have this blade right here, if you want to call that an accessory, but it doesn't come off of his arm. So we're actually going to cover that in the bot details when we get to that in the next section. So really just these two accessories. Blast effect compatibility is a plus. Let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the details on Mr. Scourge himself. Here he is, the Terrorcon we've all been waiting to see. This is leader class Scourge, so let's bring him in for his details, and we're going to start and we're going to take a look at that head, and what a unique head it is. I don't know if I'm bought off on it yet on that design, but it looks cool. I mean, he is wearing a Terrorcon mask, so that's really cool, and if you look really close, he's got those beady little eyes in there. Now, you'll notice the face here doesn't look like what we saw in the artwork on the box. I don't know if there's something in the movie. I have yet to see the movie, so we shall see all in due time, I suppose, but there you go. And then he's got this nice Egyptian cowl kind of thing going on right here, so that's really cool. Got some interesting sculpt work on that. And then coming to his chest, all kinds of stuff going on here. So you've got that chain wrapping through what is the grill in the truck mode, and good detail. And then looking just beyond that grill, you can see that orange translucent piece right there. And coming down, he's got nice, interesting, exhausting abs. Get it? And beyond that, it looks like we got some faux tires right there in the hips. And then coming down to those legs. The legs, I don't know if I'm entirely sold on. He looks really skinny from the front. They look good from the side, but from the front, it really does look like he's skipped out on leg day. Additionally, he does have some hollow inside those legs that I would have liked for them to cover up for a leader class. Would have been nice to have that covered up. But sculpt work wise, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And coming down to those feet. So all kinds of good stuff going on there. Very little paint down here. He does have that splash of paint right here. And then of course on this side it's a little bit different. He's got those chains. But as far as the rest of the legs go, not a lot we're talking about here. So taking a look at him from the side, I do have that partial arm lifted up just out of the way. So just give you an idea of that side profile. He does have a bit of a backpack on him. It's not awful by any means, but you can see the legs and all that going on. Look up in here. Not really hollow to speak of. I do like it. There's nice mechanical elements up in here that we can admire as well. And then looking up under the arm, or at least what's left of this arm, you've got all this really cool stuff going on in here. I think the undersides here just look awesome. Under here looks really good. A little bit of a hollow area there, but it's not bad. And then taking a look here, you've got that chain. Now, to be fair, you know, he has either the claw or the hand cannon over here on this side, so we're going to skip over to here so you can see what an arm looks like. And then open those hands up, and you can see he's got those nice long fingers. Very scary. Very scary. He's got a nice chain right there on that forearm, so it looks really good. Shoulder pads look awesome. I like what you can do with these shoulder pads. I like that you can position these arms in multiple locations and just move those shoulder pads around how you feel fit. But yeah, they look good. They've got that splash paint on there to give it that weathered look. Nice rivets right there. And then, of course, you've got your canister right here for the engine. So you've got some nice sculpt work in there as well. Looks really, really cool. And coming around to the back, here he is from the back with an arm missing, but you get the gist of it. So again, that backpack I think looks worse from the back side than it does from the side. You can tell it is just a cab with the doors folded up right there. These exhaust pipes have a tendency to move on me. They move really easily. So it would have been nice to have had a little bit more tension in there, but as far as quality goes, it's about the only main issue that I have. Back of the head, kind of interesting. You do have light piping for those tiny little itty bitty eyes if you want to, you know, try to make that work. And then you've got these louvers here, kind of give it a nice, cool look. And we'll see a lot of this detail when we get him into his truck mode as well. And then coming up under here, there's the Scourge butt. You do have a little port right there for a flight stand if you want to use it. Backs of the legs. And I didn't have those transformed right. Let's get those transformed right. There we go, that's better. And there's the backs of the feet and the wheels. All right, so that is it for the details. I think details on this guy are pretty darn good. I think it's adequate for the leader class and for the leader class price point nowadays. So would have been nice to have a little bit more paint on him. Oh, we got to talk about the blade. How did I miss the blade? Oh my gosh. Can't believe I missed the blade, because that's where he really could have used some paint. So you can see it's got that weathered and cracked look on it, and almost organic. So a little bit more paint here would have been nice. Just something on those blades would have been really cool. There's the backside of it. So all that looks good as well. Now that we're done with the details, now we can go ahead and move into the articulation for this guy. And we'll start at the head as we always do. So let's bring him on in and we'll take a look. So the head's actually on 2 ball joints. So you have the head itself right here on this ball joint. So you can look up, you can look down, you can get a little quizzical with him, and then you can turn that head around ever so slightly. You don't get a lot with it, but you can turn it around ever so slightly, and then you get more range of motion here in the neck, so you can actually do more of a turn. Now you could take him all the way around, but you start getting interference with the cowl and the upper chest shoulder area, but you can take it all the way around there. And then you do have some interesting lean forward with that ball joint, so he can look down, you know, like what's going on down there, I guess. And then he can only look up that far. I mean, you're going to take it the rest of the way with the head. So full up, full down, looks like that. And then a little bit of side to side, but it doesn't retain it because of the cowl and some interference there. And then, yeah, I mean, I think you can get pretty good expressions with him, especially when you decapitate him. So that is the one downside here, because this is so open. Not the first time I've done this. You can see that it doesn't take a lot to take that head off. Maybe that's a foreshadowing for the movie? I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, good motion in the head. Shoulders, good range of motion in the shoulders as well. So if we just focus on this main joint right here, you can go down that far, you can go up that far, and then you also have another joint right here. You've got this shoulder pad, but then you have this joint right here where you can go up that far, and then you can come down that far right there. So good range of motion all the way around. And then on both sides, we'll talk about the hand here momentarily, but on both sides you have 90 degrees of elbow bend, and then you have, of course, that bicep rotation. So if we come over here, we can see the rest of what's going on. So not much else going on below that elbow, except for on this hand, you have the ability to close that fist, open that fist up, probably wider than what it naturally should do. And then I'm going to count this as articulation. It's really part of the accessory, if you will, or the accessory that doesn't come off. But you can take this blade, and this blade actually extends out. So if you wanted to have a nice long blade action going on, you could do that without articulation. Additionally, you open these hands up and flip that blade in, and he will collapse that in. There we go. And then he will hold onto the blade as such. So good range of motion in that hand, I think, as well. Coming on down to the waist, so you can take that waist that far to the right, that far to the left, more than adequate for what you're going to need for posing. And then coming down here to these hips, this is nice. Get that out of the way. You do get a full, I'm calling it a Scourge Van Damme right there, because it is more than 180. So very well done. And kicking forward, you're going to go that far. Kicking backward, if you want to run into his backpack, you're going to get about that far. If you want to take it out, you can really, sky's the limit, I guess, wherever you want to go. And then you do have thigh rotation right there. So thigh rotation will go all the way around. As a matter of fact, it's designed to do so because of transformation. So plenty of range of motion there. And then as far as that knee goes, you can hear it. It's a ratcheted knee, which is kind of interesting. But you get right at 90, maybe just a tick over 90 on that knee bend right there. And then coming down to the feet, because of the transformation, you get some interesting articulation if you need it. So if you needed to take that toe and turn that toe out, you totally could, because that's part of the transformation. And then feet will go back that far. They will go up that far. And then you get ankle tilt of that far, which totally allows you to do that. And yes, that does look like a dance move. I like it. I'm in. All right, So that is it for the articulation for Scourge. I think it's very well done. I do think that, would have been nice to maybe had a different setup up here in the head, one that doesn't fall off so easily. But you're not going to have any issues with getting this guy in some sweet poses. His feet are nice and big. He's nice and stable. So I think all that's done really well. So what we'll do now is we'll jump in, we'll throw the accessories on him, and take a look at him from there. So there are a few things that you can do with those accessories for Scourge. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. It's not overly complex, but it's definitely worth showing. So if you were to take the hand cannon, for instance, and you've got that little slot and groove area right there, that's going to match up to this tab that he has right here on his arm. You're simply going to line those up and plug that in. And there you go. You have a hand cannon on Scourge, and he's ready to go. So, as we mentioned earlier as well, you can use blast effects here, so you can have yourself a nice time with that. I think that looks pretty good. I have really no major complaints there as far as that goes. And now you can take the claw and you can do the same thing. So you're just going to take that, pull that off. You can set that off to the side, and then you can plug that in. You have that same slot. Just line all that up and plug it in. And now he's got his big grippy claw, which looks pretty awesome as well. Now you do have weapon storage in the bot mode, so while you're using, let's say, the claw, you can get this out of your way and stow it rather conveniently. It's not the greatest thing, but you've got your slot right here. You've got a tab right here. You can plug that in. Just line that up and give it a squeeze. And there you go. It doesn't look awful. You're probably not going to see him from the back anyway. And then you've got a nice spot for that while you're ready to do some grippy. And vice versa. So you can also unplug that. Unplug that, and then you've got a slot right there. You can squeeze those hands together, or those claws, and then, didn't have it lined up. Line it up, it helps. Oh, using the wrong one. Use this one, not that one, this one. And plug it in, and there you go. Now he's got a tail, and if you want to make him fly, you can do that. Whee! You can do that. Alright, so there you go. I think the accessories are pretty cool. Other than the fact that I got him all cattywampus now and he doesn't want to stand up for me. This, as we mentioned earlier, yes, this is an accessory. Yes, this is something that you can get lined up in his hand right there, and he can put his hand around it. So you do have that ability. You just open the hand up, pull that back out of the way, and then you can bring it back here. And if you want to store it, you can fold that down, but this is really for transformation. And then you have this double hinge back here, so you can pull that and bring that forward if you want to have it be a, I don't know, almost like a slashy long weapon. Whatever you want to do with it. It's totally up to you, so you can do that with that as well. It just doesn't come off of his body. It's just a permanent fixture on his body. Just take it, fold it back in, fold it up right there, give it a snap, and now he's holding it and looking and wondering, where did my arm go? Alright, so, oh gosh, now he's wondering, where did my head go? Oh no, we'll be right back. I don't know. Anyway, now that we've done all that, let's go ahead and get him transformed into his truck mode. Keep your head on, sir. Falling apart on me. So let's go ahead and get Scourge into his truck mode. And the first thing that you're going to want to do, if you haven't already done so, just go ahead and straighten your arms out, collapse that hand, straighten this arm out over here, and then just kind of have him in that rigid pose. And then you're going to come back here to the back, and you're just going to disconnect this backpack. So you're going to give this a pull, and that's going to come out like that. And then just keep on giving it a pull. This is on a double hinge here, and then a hinge down there. So keep on pulling until that stretches all the way out like that. Once you've done that, now you're going to grab this little piece right here. You're going to flip that out, and then you're going to grab this little piece, and you're going to flip that out, and this is going to become your windshield and the top of the hood. All right. So after you've done that, now you're going to take the smokestack area, and you're going to flip those out 180 degrees. So you've got them sitting like that. Now you're going to turn your attention down here to those feet. So I'm going to get those arms out of my way just for a moment. So what you're going to do here is you're going to take your legs first and you're going to rotate those around 180 degrees. Now before I do, I want to show you, you've got a little port there. You've got pegs right there. So that's going to be your alignment, but you're not going to put those in yet. Just don't do it yet. That was just for a point of reference. So rotate those around 180 degrees. And then come down here to the feet. So on this foot right here, you've got a little peg. You're just going to use your fingernail there. And you're going to pull that peg out just like that. And then you're going to take those feet and you're going to collapse those toes inward like that. And then you're going to take that foot, you're going to push that foot up so it locks right there. And then you're going to bring this up. You've got a tab, you've got a slot. You're going to lift that up and then those are going to push together just like that. So same thing over here, except you don't have the peg, you've just got the port. So bring your toe down, collapse that foot up, and then bring that toe up right there until it snaps. And then you've got those legs essentially ready, but we're still not going to put them together yet. We've got a few other things we need to do. One other step, I'm telling you now, just in case I forget it, you have these wheels that you want to pull out and away. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, especially trying to do it in front of the camera. But you pull those out so you can see you've got a little bit of a gap in there. Normally I wait until I'm done, but I'm going to do it now just in case I forget. In the process of handling these, I'm going to be squeezing these legs, so I'm probably going to collapse these again. That's why I wanted to show you now. So you just take that and pull those out. Again, not the easiest thing in the world to do. Ugh, goodness. I'm sure there's an easier way. I'm sure I'm not doing it the easiest way, but there you go. So you've got a little bit of a gap in both of those right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this arm right here. I'm going to bring the arm back down, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the shoulder up and bring the arm down like that. Then I'm going to take this upper piece of the blade, I'm going to swing that down right there, and then those two are going to pin together. And then keep this out of your way. And then you're going to, right here at the shoulder, you've got a little tab. You're going to disconnect that so that way you can float this up. And then you're going to bring that arm in. Before you do that, I missed a step, so we're going to back up. We're going to pretend that never happened. You got your arm like this. You need to extend, after you fold that blade, you need to grab this and you need to extend this out. So apologies for missing that. We didn't get far, hopefully. Now you're going to take that arm and you're going to bring that up. Keep those legs spread. And you're going to bring that arm up. And then what you're going to do is you have a tab right here. It's going to correspond to a slot right there. So you're going to get those lined up. But I'm going to finish my lineup up here first. Get that up and clear that. Come on, baby. There we go. So once you've got that clear, now you're able to bring that all the way in. So you should have something that looks like that right there. And then you're going to take that leg. This is where you now can use your peg and your port right there, and then line that up as well. Make sure that's tucked up underneath and bring all this together. Make sure that's under and that's pushed. So you should have your blade tabbed in right here. And then you're going to be able to take this leg, bring that leg in, so you've got that port and that peg right there, and then you've got that peg and this port right there. So bring those together and adjust your knee bend if you need to get everything lined up. And then you should have something that looks like that, where you've got that arm oriented as such. Once you've got that snapped together, now we'll turn our attention to this arm over here. So you're going to disconnect that right there, bring that forward, swing that up, and make sure that that clears. And bring all those together right there. And you should have something that looks like that. Your claws should look approximately like that. So when we get to the final step where we put all this together, you're going to see that there are a few things up here, particularly this gap right here that's going to capture this hinge right here. So before we get to that step, we need to disassemble his chest. So right here on this chest area, you've got these little flaps, one here, one on the other side. You're just going to grab those and pull those forward like that. Then you're going to take the actual lower part of the chest here, and you're going to bring that forward until it snaps, just like that. So it should be sitting almost flush. This makes the front of the truck. Then you're just going to give it a pull right here. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to open up to this side of the body. All right. Once you've got it open up to this side of the body, you're going to rotate it like that. And then you're going to start bringing it back as you bring this wheel out. And then you're going to collapse this area in right here. And then you're going to bring this forward. And then once you've got that approximately where you need it, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this lower part. So there's the top of your cab. There's the middle section that's actually going to go in between these. So I'm going to bring that down now. And you're going to collapse. You've got this little double hinge right here. You're just going to collapse that in where it sits properly. Easier said than done. Especially, of course, I'm doing it on camera now, so why would it want to cooperate with me? It wouldn't want to. There we go. So you should have it collapsed in. I'm going to move this arm temporarily so you can see the shape when you collapse that in. And then you can see how those all match together now. And then you're just going to squeeze all that together. That's going to give you the front of that grill. So then you're going to bring this around and you are going to plug the grill in. Make sure that head is out of your way. It shouldn't interfere too much. All right, and then you got, let me back this up real quick. You've got a slot right there and a tab right there. So when you bring this forward, you're going to give that a squeeze, and then for that grill, you're just going to bring that grill up like that. And then you're going to take this wheel, it's just sitting there on a hinge like this. You're going to lift it up, bring that forward. You've got a tab and a slot. You're going to bring that forward and give that a squeeze, and that gets the front of the vehicle completed for you. So now you're going to bring the doors down. As you bring the doors down, just go ahead and take your exhaust pipes and bring them forward like that. And then when you bring these down, you're going to have a couple of areas. You've got a tab here, you've got a slot there, and then you've got this tab right here that's actually going to fall into this groove on the leg. Now this side is a little bit different than the other side, so let's go ahead and collapse this one down first. Make sure everything lines up, and then slide that into that slot. And then you've got one side complete. Now we're going to go to the other side. So you're going to have the tab and the slot and the tab and the groove, but in addition to that, you've got this little gap right here that's going to line up to his claw. So as you bring this down, you're going to align the tab and the slot. Make sure you get those exhaust pipes up and out of your way. Tab in the slot, and then that tab and that groove in the legs. And then the easiest thing in the world to see, make sure that your area right in here, that tab or that gap and your hinge for the hands are lined up, and then give all that one final squeeze. Let's give it a double check once over, squeeze everything nice and tight, and should be all done here, other than him being just slightly crooked. We'll straighten that out later, but that is, oh, did I pull these out? Yeah, I pulled those out. Okay. But that is Scourge in his vehicle mode, and we'll get him all cleaned up and we'll show off the details here, but that's 99% of him there. Now that we have Scourge in his vehicle mode, the finishing touch is just taking this hand cannon here and doing a quick conversion on it. I don't know how bought in I am on this, whether or not it makes the vehicle look better or not, but according to the instructions, this is your official weapon storage, also finishing the bed area off. So you're just going to take this cannon and give it a split. If I can get my fingernails in there and actually split it, there we go. So you're going to give that a split like that. You're going to rotate one end of it 180 degrees, and then you're going to rotate these as such, because what you're going to end up doing is you're going to orient them about like that. So these slots right here are going to align to the tabs right here on Scourge. So you're going to take those and basically line these up. It's not the easiest thing in the world. So I'm going to take those tabs, line that one up, bring this down, and line that one up, and give that a squeeze down. And according to the directions, that's your finishing touch. Like I say, I don't know how bought in I am on that, but that's what the instructions want you to do to finish Scourge off as far as that goes. And it does give you a place for weapon storage, so there is that. So now that we've got the transformation quote-unquote complete, let's go ahead and jump into those details on Scourge. So before we begin the official man-handling process of the figure here in his alt mode, wanted to throw him on a turntable so you can get a nice 360-degree view of him unobstructed, so we can talk a little bit about those details. And I do think, in typical Transformers mainline fashion, I think the front of the vehicle turned out looking pretty darn good. I think he kind of falls apart back here. But still going to give him an A for effort as far as that goes. Overall look at the figure, I think he looks pretty intimidating in this alt mode. I do like it. I like the coloring, and I like the overall shape. I think he came out looking pretty good. Obviously the back, not my favorite, but we've already gone over that, so I'm not going to continue to be redundant. But yeah, so now that we've got a couple of 360s on there, I'm going to get that turntable out of the way. We'll bring him in for close-up and take a look at some of those details in his alt mode now. In our typical fashion for this channel, we're going to start right up front as far as those details are concerned. I do want to say, he does roll nicely, though. It is a very smooth rolling vehicle, so job well done there. But we're going to start with that grille, and you can see all kinds of nice detail in there. Maybe a little light on the paint, but I think, it turned out looking pretty good. You've got that chain going over the grille there, and then if you look close in the actual grille of the truck, you can see all those other symbols where he rips them off of his victims and places them on his own person as his little trophies. And coming over here to the side, wheels and tires look pretty good, actually. They all match relatively. No mushroom pegs visible. Would have been nice if we could have gotten some paint in that hub, but I get the, black paint on black tires, give him that dark, ominous look. So not going to complain about that. You do have the indicators right there in bright orange, which is nice. Don't know how I feel about this big hollow open area right there, but you do get to see that with the light piping, just that glowing orange like what we see in the movie, so that's pretty cool. And then you've got all this mechanical area right there, so you've got his canisters and you've got his exhaust and that kind of stuff. Looks pretty darn good if you ask me. Up here on the hood, you've got some paint applications, make him look a little dirty. Same thing over here on the door. Lots of nice molded in detail. Fuel tanks and the steps look pretty good. The dual, quadruple, whatever exhaust looks pretty good there as well. They're a little loose, just like in bot mode, so they're not going to stay as you touch him. They're just going to move around. So once you get him on your shelf, if you're going to have him in this mode, you're just going to have to do a little bit of tweaking there. This is... a panel or something would have been nice there. Again, talked about this. It supposedly finishes off the rear of the vehicle. I don't know how bought in I am on those, but hey, it's all right. And then there's the detail on the wheels and the tires back here. Coming around to the very back, you've got some hollow areas that they're his feet. So I don't know. You're not really going to see him from the back here, but maybe a splash of paint or something right there would have been nice, just to break all that up and maybe make it look like the semblance of some kind of a truck. And coming over here to this side, much like the other side. And there he is from the top. So he's quite hollow down here. Never mind that he doesn't have a drive shaft or anything going to those wheels. Not worried about that. But yeah, looks pretty good from the top. And here he is from the bottom. So you've got some visible head syndrome there, which is kind of cool. I like it. And then you've got visible midsection and leg syndrome right there. But nobody's going to see him from the bottom. So, you know, if you're going to have that kind of stuff, I guess that's the perfect place for it. Oh, and then also mention you do have the paint app on the chrome horn there. And then you've got your mirrors. And then, of course, those louvers, just for an overall nice look. So you do have some asymmetrical features on the other side. You had that step with the fuel tank, and then over here you just have that step. So just a step with the fuel tank. So some nice asymmetrical features there. Not just a copy and paste job, which is pretty cool. All right, so now that we've gone over those details, there's not really much to talk about in this mode other than the fact that he rolls. So you've got that. Not really any articulation or anything like that. So what we'll do is we're just going to jump right on into the comparisons now and see how Scourge looks against some other vehicles. For our first alt mode comparison, here we see that Studio Series leader Scourge on the left, and on the right is my G1 Motormaster. I brought Motormaster in just because, hey, he's a angry truck Decepticon, and this is an angry truck Terrorcon. Next up, we have some Scourge on Scourge action. On the left, of course, Studio Series leader. On the right is the Studio Series 86 Scourge in his sweeps form from that 86 movie. Moving on to our next comparison. This is Nightbird. This is the Nightbird that came in that Buzzworthy Bumblebee 3-pack with Cheetor and with Wheeljack. Now, although she's not a Studio Series, she's a deluxe class, and I think she scales up pretty well here in their alt modes compared to Scourge. I think that scale works. Next up is that Studio Series 38 Optimus Prime from the 2018 Bumblebee movie. So these guys are both from the same universe, and I think as far as overall scale goes, I think these two guys look pretty good together. Moving on to our next comparison, this is the Voyager class Optimus Prime Rise of the Beasts version. This is not the Studio Series Optimus Prime. I don't think the scale quite works here, but for a Rise of the Beast villain, Rise of the Beast hero, there you go. And for our final alt mode comparison, here we see the leader class Scourge next to the Studio Series Voyager class Battle Trap, his minion hanging out with the big guy. I think the scale works between these two guys pretty well, and yeah, these guys look like they're a couple of trucks looking for some trouble. That's going to wrap up the alt mode comparisons, so let's get Scourge transformed back into his bot mode. We'll do some comparisons there. So the first thing that you're going to want to do to get Scourge back into his bot mode, if you haven't already done so, is go ahead and remove his weapon. So just give that a pull, and let's transform that hand cannon while we're here. So you're just going to take this, you're going to rotate this 180 degrees so they're on opposite sides of each other. Then you're going to rotate these around until they collapse down just like that. We'll rotate this one around and then close that up and collapse it, and you've got the hand cannon all done. So now you can just take that and put it off to the side. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to lift these doors right here. So you're just going to give these doors a pull. Remember, they're just on tabs here and up here. So just give those a pull and start bringing those up. As you bring them up, go ahead and bring your exhaust pipes down. Bring those up and just have them sitting at an angle about like that, just to keep them out of your way. Same thing over here, except you've just got the little area right there that captures the claw, but it shouldn't give you any issues. Just give it a pull, bring them up, bring these down, and then get that out of your way. Should have something that looks like that, hopefully. All right, next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this, as if you're looking at the truck, it's on the right-hand side or the passenger side. You're going to take that wheel right there and give that a pull, and then you're going to swing that down and collapse that in right there. Next thing is you're going to disconnect the bumper guard or the bull guard, whatever you want to call it, right here. And you're going to pull that out just like that. And then once you do that, then you can take this wheel, give that wheel a pull. That's going to swing all that around. As you do that, you're going to open it up right here at this hinge. As you close this, you're going to open that. You're going to swing it up, and then you're going to bring that in. There's a hinge right here. You're going to swing that in, and then you have a tab and a slot right there. Bring that in, and then just push that in on the chest right there. Next step is this lower portion right here. You're just going to bring that in. That's going to lock in place right there. And then you're going to take each one of these and flip those inward as such, and you have the chest / ab area completed. After you've done that, now you can free the arms. So come up here, and you're going to, these are the shoulder pads. Don't drop him, my goodness. These are the shoulder pads. You're just going to give those a pull right there. You've got those loose, and now you're free to bring this arm down. Go ahead, since you've got this middle section out here, give that a pull and get that out of your way. Just have it sitting up like that, and then go ahead and bring the arm down. And as you swing that arm down, you have this tab right here. Going to go into that slot right there. So bring that all the way around, and there you go. Now you can clean this arm up now if you want to, or you can clean it up later. It's totally up to you, but you've got it done. All right, next step is this arm right here. So what you're going to need to do is actually take the legs and split them, so that way you can get access to the blade right here. So then you're going to pull that blade right there. That's going to disconnect it from the leg, and then just lift that up so it's out of your way a little bit. And then you're going to do the same thing with this arm over here that you did with the other one. You're just going to start bringing that down. And as you bring this down, make sure the blade clears everywhere. And then you have your tab, you have your slot. Bring that down, push that in, clean that arm up now if you want to. And then as far as the blade itself goes, you're going to disconnect these, swing that out, and then this is sitting on a double hinge. So just bring that forward and then collapse that down, and then you have that arm all done. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and take care of these feet. That way if we want to stand him up, we can. So if they haven't already pulled off of these pegs up here, go ahead and grab those legs, pull them out like that, and then you're going to rotate at the thighs 180 degrees, and do the same thing on this side. Rotate 180 degrees, and then I'm going to bring him over to the front. And once we have him here, you can see he's got those toes right there. You're just going to pull those toes down, and then you're going to swing them forward, just like that. All right, so bring the toe down, swing it forward, and then look up under here. You have this peg right there that you're just going to need to tuck away so he's sitting flush, and then just give those feet one click approximately there. Give him a nice natural bend, so that way if you need to stand him up, you can stand him up so we can do the backpack cleanup. Okay, so the next thing is go ahead and bring this out. Now you've got another hinge right, if I focus, another hinge right down here, up under there. You're just going to pull that out, give yourself all the clearance that you're going to need. So then you're going to fold these in right there, and do the same thing over here. These will move on you a little bit, just put them back. And then take this piece right here, you're going to roll that piece in, and then you're going to roll the rest of this just like that. All right, so you've got the backpack compacted. Now it's just a matter of the proper folding. So you've got this slot right here, you've got this tab right here. That's going to help you as far as your alignment goes. So get those approximately where they need to be, so that way you can get an idea of what you need to do with this hinge assembly down here. So you're going to bring this in, collapse all that together, and then you're going to get this lined up. Come on, there we go. And then get that lined up, that tab and that slot right there, and push that in. All right, so I'm going to expand this back out so you can see, because this is kind of tricky how this comes out. So you can see, expand it out, bring that in like that, fold that up, and then tab that in. And once you have that, assuming you've already done the cleanup on your arms, you have Scourge back in his bot mode. We're not done with transformation. I missed a step. I told you earlier I was going to miss this step because it's so subtle, but let's go ahead and get it taken care of now. You need to push in these wheels. So you're just going to come back here and give them a push. And give them a push. Ta-da! Now we're done. Now transformation is complete. Now we can move on to the comparisons. For our first bot mode comparison, here we see that leader class Scourge next to my G1 Motormaster, just to give you a sense of scale here against a G1 bot, and hey, these are just a couple of really angry trucks, so why not? And here we have an example of some sweet Scourge on Scourge action. So of course, Studio Series on the left, on the right is the Studio Series 86 Scourge, as we saw him from that 1986 Transformers movie. Next up is the Studio Series 38 Optimus Prime, as we saw him in that 2018 Bumblebee movie, with this Rise of the Beast being a continuation of that 2018 movie. I think that this scale works between these two guys. Based on what I've seen from the movie, Scourge is a big imposing bot. He's definitely bigger than Optimus Prime, so hopefully I'm right here. I do believe the scale works. Next up is the Voyager class Optimus Prime from that Rise of the Beast movie. This is not studio class. I don't think this scale works. I don't think Optimus is that small in comparison to Scourge, but hey, he's a representative from the Rise of the Beast movie. I wanted to bring him in so you could see those two guys next to each other. While we're on the subject of scale not working, let's just go ahead and bring in the MPM-12 Optimus Prime from that Bumblebee movie, because why not? I wanted to see an Optimus Prime that was bigger than this guy, so there you go. Next up is one of Scourge's minions. This is Nightbird. Now, this is the Nightbird that came in that 3-pack, the Buzzworthy Bumblebee 3-pack, with Cheetor and with Wheeljack. I'm not entirely bought in on the scale here. I don't think he's going to be that much bigger than Nightbird is. I know she's definitely going to be smaller, but I don't expect her to be that small in comparison to Scourge. I could be wrong, but there you go. Now, for our final one-on-one bot mode comparison, I do believe the scale works here, and it is by design. This is the Studio Series Voyager class Battle Trap, Scourge's other minion from the Rise of the Beast movie. And based on what I've seen from the movie, I do believe that this scale is going to work in the bot mode between those two guys. Not to mention, they just look absolutely fantastic together. Just look at them. And for our final comparison here, just to give you a total sense of scale based on what we've seen so far on the figures. Now, this is not all inclusive. There are a few more floating around out there. This is just what I have in my collection at the time of this recording, just to show, you know, the overall size of Scourge compared to some of these other figures. And I do think for the most part this is accurate, other than Optimus over here, because he's not the Studio Series Prime. But I do think that this levels out pretty well. I think Air Razor probably should be a little bit smaller, but I think Cheetor works. I think Wheeljack and Nightbird work. Obviously, Battle Trap works. So there you go. Nice sense of scale on what we're going to see for that Rise of the Beast movie. That's going to do it for the bot mode comparisons. So let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts. So there we have the Transformers Rise of the Beast Studio Series Leader Class Scourge. And there's a lot to like here. This is a fun figure that once you get used to it, has a pretty easy transformation, easy to pose, nice and stable. Really, the only thing to not like on this figure for the most part is that price. But let's go ahead and jump into it, and we're going to start with the overall looks, the aesthetics of the figure. He looks really good in both modes. He's not exactly screen accurate, in particular with that robot mode. The CGI Scourge is kind of leaner, doesn't have as much of a backpack or any backpack at all. Really, all this is integrated in as part of his body, but hey, we're dealing with the limitations of the real world, so not going to knock him too much for what they've done here. But yeah, this guy, he just looks intimidating in his bot mode. He does look like he missed the leg day at the gym a little bit, so would have liked to have seen those beefed up a little bit, but other than that, I think the bot mode looks good. The truck mode, it's typical, you know, the overall size of Transformer figure truck mode. You know, it looks good in the front and then it kind of falls apart in the back, just with hollow areas. Doesn't really look like a truck, just looks like some folded up legs and feet, which is essentially what it is. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. It's just par for the course when it comes to Transformers figures. Really, other than that, he could have used a few more paint apps here and there to add a splash of color, but this dude just looks good. I think he's going to look really good on your shelf, so I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Moving on to the articulation, done really well. This is for a leader class figure, you would expect a good amount of articulation, and I think we're getting that for sure here. Really, the only areas to complain about would be you don't get anything in the wrists. Obviously, you don't even get a wrist over here. But on this one, just because of that configuration with that integrated blade, you know, that wrist is not going to rotate. It's not going to swing in and out. You do, however, get the articulation in those fingers to open that hand up or to close it. So, you know, you sacrifice one thing, you gain another thing, I suppose is the best way to put it. Also, the head is just weird, just the way that it's articulated with that dog bone or those two ball joints. Not hard to get him in some poses, but it's just kind of weird. But everything else I think is fantastic. You know, waist rotation, lots of movement in all the major joints. Again, the stability on this figure is great. Nice big feet. So all that's done really well. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10 for articulation. Moving on to the accessories. I think this is another one of the figure's strengths. I love the accessories that came with this guy. My biggest complaint really is they could have used some paint. You know, they're a little bit on the plain side, but they are fun. This blade, which I do have slightly crooked, I just realized I don't have it all the way open. But anyway, that blade is cool. You can do so many different things with it. It just fits so naturally in his palm by design, of course. And then that hand cannon, as you can see, is fully blast effect compatible, so do what you want there with it. It also has the ability to convert and become part of the truck. Not a convincing part in my opinion, but hey, it's weapon storage. And speaking of the weapon storage, we have the claw back here on that weapon storage area, so you can give him a little bit of a tail if you use the claw or the hand cannon. But the claw itself is really fun too. Just all kinds of fun, imaginative play that you can do with these accessories. I really, really like them. So I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10 for the accessories. Now, moving on to the quality section. Overall quality on this figure is good. Joints are tight everywhere. He transforms and tabs in the way that he should. Everything stays, nothing pops out. What paint apps there are on the figure are done well. The sculpt work is done well. I don't have any defects. He came with everything that he was supposed to. The two things that I will complain about are the exhaust pipes. It doesn't matter if you have him in truck mode or if you have him in bot mode. Just breathing on those exhaust pipes, they're going to move on you. They're just sitting there kind of in those press fit joints, and they're loose. So, yeah, you're going to be fiddling with those every time you touch the figure and pose them. You're going to have to make sure that you didn't knock those out of place. The other thing is, because of that weird double dog bone, two ball joint setup for the head, it doesn't take anything at all to pop his head off. They just absolutely, that's not a quality issue as much as it is just a design issue, but it just pops right out of that ball. So, you know, during transformation, during posing, don't be surprised if you decapitate Scourge, which, no spoilers from the movie, but there may be some similarities there. So overall quality, because of those two items, everything else is great, but I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. So moving on to our last bullet, which is overall value. I think before I get too deep into it, I will say I really like this figure. He's fun to play with. He's fun to handle, fun to transform. So many awesome things you can do, but I just have an issue with the price of leader class figures anyway. They're just creeping up, and I'm not happy about it, nor would I imagine anyone else is. So anyway, I picked this figure up. This was a pre-order from tfsource.com. I paid $57 for it. So I will say two things. Number one, I've had this figure for a while. I'm just so far behind on my reviews. I apologize. I need to get more out quicker. The pre-order price is the same as the MSRP. So at $57, you know, maybe if you find him on the shelf at Target or Walmart or something like that, or your local retailer, you might be able to find him for a few dollars less. But I still think that that's a high price to pay for a leader class. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I just really would like to see those prices come down at least, you know, $5 or $6 more. I think he's probably more on par with a $50 price point rather than $57. So that brings us to our grand total out of a possible 50 points. The Studio Series Scourge gets 41 out of 50, which puts him at 82%. I am going to recommend this figure. If you can find it for less than the MSRP, snatch him up, no doubt. If you can handle the MSRP and it doesn't hurt too bad to pick him up, then do so. This guy is just all kinds of fun. So with that, that's going to wrap up the review. I hope you guys got some good information. Hope you got some entertainment out of this. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Leave a comment if you feel like it. I swear I really do try to get to the comments whenever I can. And one last favor to ask, if you know of anyone that would like what we do here, please share this video, share this channel with those fine folks. It's always fun to see the channel grow and be able to speak with new people. So with that, that's going to wrap it up. Until we see you guys in the next review, take care.